Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Command & Conquer Rivals Replay Request. Now, we're going to continue on with Benzie as a second game with his GDI deck. Level's definitely a little bit closer this time with ColKlinks from the Backbreakers. But it is still going to be really the theme of buffs, right? Oksana is still extremely strong for Nod, just as Colonel Jackson is still extremely Nod for GDI. Wow. Extremely good for GDI. So Benzie this round with basically what looks like a pretty significant version of the Fallen's GDI deck, but there's no rifles in this one. So no 2v1 meta or anything. But still, with those jump jets and the shocks, the missiles, you should have a plethora of early game advantages. And if you do get really heavy into the infantry, or hell, even if you get like a lot of buggy issues, Benzie could even swap over to air, pick up that Orca, and for the late game, past the first missile, we're going to have those sandstorms. And that will just destroy the rest of all of your vehicle problems anyways. ColKlinks on the other side does look kind of standard. Instead of cyborgs, might have wanted to see Venoms. Venom's actually doing really good early game work for Nod right now, but cyborgs for the late game here for ColKlinks. The cyborgs would actually do very well against this deck if you can get quite a few of them out. Really the only threat for these cyborgs is the shocks. And while again Benzie does have some levels over his opponent, having one unit to counter basically 3 of your heavy hitters and doesn't go down fast to the other 2 is actually a pretty significant advantage for ColKlinks. But I don't know if we'll get that far. We'll find out as we jump into it here with our second game of this week's meta.
Battlefield control.
3, 2, 1. New objective.
Alright, so ColKlinks will start us off here on the left-hand side, Nod versus GDI, but Benzie's not going to start with a Harvester. He actually throws out the lasers first. Well, ColKlinks has the lasers, Benzie has the missiles, but that's going to be some pretty decent early scouting for Benzie here as well. He's going to get some shots off on top of that Harvester to boot. ColKlink not going to the right field. Benzie actually did micro his Harvester to the other field. Or it was the vice versa, but either way, with that extra amount of time, Benzie's able to get out those shocks faster than the flames, and now ColKlink has left himself into a pretty vulnerable situation with that Harvester. He didn't micro it away, and he wasn't able to body block anything. Both these guys are going to have similar ideas. They're both now going to swap techs. We actually have a War Factory coming out here for Klink, with double bikes immediately going to be just kind of hunting. Now, we do have a Talon out. It's not going to be great for Benzie. Those bikes will destroy that Talon, no problem. But the double missile squads, in response, will at least keep the Harvester safe for now. And with more Talons now on the way, it's going to be Talons to deal with the flames, as well as the missiles to deal with the bikes. It's up to ColKlink to make good use of micro, so that he can get the better of the trades. And he's actually faring very well. Like, there's no real pressure on Klink as of yet. His top is about to drop. We have a Catalyst missile coming in and does not hit. The Talons, especially with the Jackson buff, just a little bit too fast for that Jade missile. That's 90 Tiberium ColKlink threw away for that one. And unless he kills that top unit, Klink, doesn't matter, still steals the missile. Good job, ColKlink. But the top pad micro is definitely not in his favor. Quite a few Talons out here for Benzie. They'll clean up some of the infantry, but the bikes do take their toll. We do have a Jackson buff on top of these jump jets, and they will clean up the rest of the bikes. Should go for the Harvester, I would fully expect at this point. Talons will deal with the flames, but at the same time, these Banshees are now out. Shot for shot, the Banshees will win cost for cost. Benzie, even with a 2v1 with the Talons, will actually get the better of the trade. The Harvester has dropped the Orca, first Orca out. Now the Orca, even with a 2-level advantage, is going to have trouble with bike squads. It has 2 missiles, therefore it can destroy 2 bikes at most. And Benzie really has to just make sure that he takes control of this mid. If he does not take this nuke, it's going to be game over for ColKlink. And with only 1 Banshee out, bike spam is ending up being actually pretty effective so far. We got flames on Benzie's base as well, but there's no visit to the bottom right pad. ColKlink will actually drop that missile. He did transition to a double Harvester, That takes up a unit slot, which is why he kind of looks a little bit more scarce out here in the matchup. But now with his harvesters online, if ColKlink goes for the temple, and he hasn't yet, geez, I did not realize this is a 4-building deck from him. Another wasted catalyst missile. That's 180 Tiberium now lost to ColKlink's side. Without those cyborgs, we're going to have trouble. And if ColKlink can't field them, I suspect the vehicle presence from Benzie is about to put the final nail in the coffin here for ColKlink. Oh, those sandstorms so strong too. You're going to need bikes. I don't think Banshee, I'm not even sure how Banshee could kill that top sandstorm, but you would have needed bikes. There also wasn't a lot of contest from ColKlink on the bottom right pad at all. So Benzie, after a shaky first start, takes the win and shows you that both sides are still viable here this week.